So yesterday I had the opportunity to meet this really cool kid. He's 20 years old from China that had a completely different worldview just because he's born way across the other side of the globe. I'm here in the US, in San Francisco, particularly at this moment, recording this video, and he's all the way across in China with a completely different perspective, and we're relatively around the same age. I'm in my mid-20s, he's in his early 20s. I actually met him and he's actually going back to China soon. He's studying electrical engineering at Cal Berkeley. This is a smart kid, and I just wanted to pick his brain. Well, he actually picked my brain first because we were just going back and forth bouncing ideas off each other. And there were two key things that I found extremely fascinating. The first thing was he has an older brother that's around my age, around 25, 26 years old. And his brother is completely sworn off of marriage at the moment, and he's completely focusing on building his business and going to school, taking extra courses, and just building up skill sets. He's completely put off any sort of even dating or relationships, even looking for that. So he's completely dialed in and focused at such a young age. And that's not like abnormal over there either, you know? So in the West, we tend to think like women are like that over here, or it's difficult to interact with the feminazis that are on the West. But in reality, even on the East and in other countries, this thing has spread, and largely due to the media and Hollywood's wide reach and social media making things so accessible to impact the masses and groupthink, especially with women that grew up in a household where maybe there wasn't necessarily the dad around, or there's sort of a disrespect between the mother and the father that the child grows up seeing. And that's besides the point. That was the first thing I noticed. That was pretty interesting to see how so many men in China are writing off marriage now, and they're focusing and dialing in on their careers at a very early age. And the next thing that I wanted to talk about, and the main point of this video, because I think it's even more important at a higher level spiritually, is something he brought up, which was the fact that he was telling me, you know, there's cameras everywhere in China right now. And he said, I was asking him, how do you feel about that? Like, how do you feel that they're pretty much recording everything you do in your day-to-day life? And he was telling me basically that he doesn't mind it. He thinks it's kind of annoying, but at the same time, visiting here in America, especially here in San Francisco, you see a lot of crazy stuff going on in the streets where it's like that wouldn't be happening if there were cameras up. In his perspective, that's what he's thinking. In fact, he even told me during his stay here that he felt so uncomfortable being outside in an environment like San Francisco where it's more liberal and there's not a lot of cameras around. Yeah, they're putting up more and more cameras as we move into communism. Can't say that really loudly, but as we move into that slowly but surely, you know, hopefully we don't, but there's not as many cameras here as there are in China. So this is a completely different worldview. And he goes on to tell me that crime and homelessness is basically zero, I mean besides the government, in China because of all these cameras around. This is what they're telling the people that live there, right? Because you can't trust people, we have to put all these surveillance things around. We have to watch every move you make and identify you on these cameras and make sure we know exactly where you are at all times because of safety, right? So he goes on and says, like, this is the only thing I really enjoy about China is that it's so safe, right? And he's telling me, don't you think that this is something that is the first and foremost important thing that human beings should value above anything else on this planet? His argument was, well, without safety, you're pretty much dead, right? So you need to have that safety and security in order to be able to be alive at all. And I would disagree with that. And I told this to him. I said, you know what? When he asked me this question, I said, no, you know what? I disagree. And I was pretty quick about how fast I answered. I said, you know what? I'd rather risk my safety, whatever that is, in order to be free. So I value freedom above safety, as do a lot of people in this country. That's why we have the United States. And you know, maybe it's a bias because I was born here, I have more conservative values in that sense. But from his perspective, you know, what he's been fed on in the East is that safety and security is more important to him. And we're moving into a world, as you can see, where there's safety and security, and it's technically like a Nerf gun society where all the sharp edges have been filed down to be nice and safe and cupcakey. in order to feel secure, right? For everyone, it's all inclusive because we're moving into a collectivist society. And for me and for you watching this, I know that you guys value freedom. Especially as a young man in this country, you should value your freedom above anything else. Because this is how I look at it. Yeah, safety does keep you secure, but jail keeps you pretty secure, especially if you're in maximum security. You know, you're gonna be by yourself, safe and secure away from everything else going on. But what kind of life is that? Like, what can you really do? And you're having other people and a group of people that have made this system monitor all of your activities in order for safety and security, when it's really just sociopaths and psychopaths that want to control the lives of other people. So this is something that I want you guys to think about in your life, and I want you guys to comment in the comment section below. Do you value safety or freedom? Which one is more valuable to you as a young person or whatever age you're watching this video? Because in my opinion, I'd rather have my freedom. I'd rather risk potentially not being safe in order to live life to its fullest, make mistakes, fall down, get my hands dirty, and brush myself back off and be able to go at it again and again. And I think moving into this cupcake, rainbow glasses, nerfed out society, it's very dangerous, because life is about taking risks, especially if you want to live life to the fullest. Like, just think for a second, a lot of people that live to very old ages, they can spend up to 6 months to 2 years laying in a bed somewhere, maybe in a nursing home, just replaying what they did in their life, number one, what they could have done. And I don't know, if you're living a nerfed out society where everything's rosy glasses and you lived a very cupcake safe life, when you get to that point when you're just replaying what you could have done and you can't walk anymore and your mind's slowly fading away, it's like, what did you truly live for? What was the point of life? What was the point of actually coming here? I mean, you're already going to deal with life itself and the turmoil that comes with that, but you played it safe. And as far as we know, this is all there is to it. And I think a lot of people aren't maximizing their true potential. But maybe I'm wrong, maybe that's just my perspective. Anyways, let me know what you value more, safety and security or freedom and adventure and risk. What do you think is more valuable between these two? Comment in the comment section below. I love you guys. Drop a like on the video if you enjoyed and you want to see more content. Stay safe.